Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Happy Friday. Hope you're well. Hope your gut is well. Hope your family's gut is well and beyond. We're going to be talking about a lot today. Today's topic is really one that's close to my heart for many reasons. Today's topic is one that affects definitely us. If you've been following us for a while, today's topic on our Good Gut Live is really how can really kids, we're focusing on kids, have a good gut. I think the official title is actually how can kids have the best gut health? And that's really what we're going to be talking about today. So how can kids have the best gut health? Their good gut, where does gut health come from? We're going to have a guest join us. So we're excited about that. But this is Good Gut Live. We are live. We're answering your questions live. For those that aren't aware, my name is James Marin. I'm a creative registered dietitian, environmental nutritionist. I'm also the founder of Married to Health. And I love to do these Good Gut Lives. Usually Dahlia's with us, but it's just going to be me. And here is our guest. Christine, hi,
Hi.
welcome. We're live. We started live and welcome, Christine. Go ahead. Perfect timing. Please introduce yourself.
Hi. So I'm Christina. I'm one of the founders of Nutri-Edu-Kids, which stands for Nutrition Education for Kids. We are a company that creates engaging resources for kids to explain plant-based nutrition and teach healthy eating for kids. And we create activity books, coloring books, cookbooks, and even online courses for kids. And our goal is to get kids excited about healthy eating and help parents, caregivers, and teachers to talk about nutrition in a fun and engaging way with kids.
I love it. I love it. So I did introduce our topic. It's really all about kids gut health, kids' health. I mean, really, I think so many parents want to know, like, how can my kids be healthy? Are they eating enough? Are they getting the right nutrition? And then how does this affect their gut health and beyond? And I think that's where our focus has been for many years as well. And I love it because there's just a need for resources, right? There's a need for parents to have like tangible and hands-on and even fun resources where it's fun for the entire family. And Christina, let me know, you're not hearing an echo when you talk or anything, right? I just want to.
No.
Okay,
I'm fine.
perfect. Excellent. Okay, so I just wanted to take care of that. But beautiful. So guys, so if you're watching this, wonderful. We're gonna show. I mean, I have some of like the Nutri-Edu-Kids cool booklets and guides. But if you're just listening, they have just really cool guides. But um, but I want you, Christina, to update us. I mean, you guys have kind of changed some things. So just so we're clear, I know you gave that wonderful intro. That's great. But like, what are parents getting? Like, what resources do you have currently right now for parents and kids?
Yes. So our main resource is now an online course for kids. It's completely free and available on our YouTube channel. And the course is designed to be very simple and engaging for kids. It's focusing on vitamins and minerals, and it explains what these nutrients are, explains their health benefits and how they work in their bodies. And we make this come alive by showing how fascinating the inside world of our bodies is, and using visual animations to demonstrate, for example, how iron helps carry oxygen from lungs to the rest of our body, to illustrate how important nutrition is and how the impact looks inside our bodies. I think that's the most effective way to talk to kids, and I think animation also helps that. And we also highlight which plant-based foods are rich in these nutrients and include fun nutrition facts like the difference between whole and refined grains. And each vitamin and mineral has its own short video, and we have introductory videos for both vitamins and minerals, and they explain what minerals are, for example, where do they come from, and where can we find them. And to make learning even more fun, we offer also printable activities for each video. Kids can color foods and engage in fun activities while watching the video or after watching it. And yes, we also have books, but printable activities are very, very useful also to use in schools. We have also teachers using these videos as showing kids in schools like nutrition lessons. They are very short, very easy to understand, and you can use printable activities also to complement these videos.
I love it. And guys, to reiterate, free. Like we're not selling
Yeah.
anything, or like use the code down below and or use the link and sign up and pay. Like you guys really had it on your hearts to make this free. Like this is a free resource. I just want to reiterate, where can they find this? Where do they go to find this free resource?
Yes, you can find all of our resources on our webpage. You can go to Nutri-Edu-Kids.com and find all courses, all books, all printable activities we have. And there's also a link to the course on our YouTube channel.
I love that, and there is a link down below in the description. So after this, if you're listening to this later, watching this later, or even right now, you should be able to see the link down below in the comment and the caption section. So it's so wonderful, and I want to know. I mean, like, how did this all start? I mean, I know a bit, but I mean, let everyone. Where did this all start? Like, where did you guys come from with this wonderful resource?
Yes, so it all started with my journey into plant-based nutrition. About 8 years ago, I went plant-based and became really passionate about it, as many of us plant-based people do. And I went study plant-based nutrition at Cornell University and continued my education with several other online courses. And as a mom of three, I have three daughters. I was also interested in children's nutrition, and I studied also child nutrition and cooking at Stanford University. But the idea of the company came from the school my three daughters attend, and it's quite a unique school. It's like a mix of homeschooling, co-op, and like a private school. It's founded by parents, and it's heavily focused on sustainability. They provide vegetarian meals in school. They are trying to use as much as possible local and organic produce, and also kids learn gardening there. They grow their own food, and they use this food to make meals in the school. So in the school, I started sharing my knowledge of nutrition. I started teaching kids about healthy eating, and we had cooking lessons. And kids were amazing. They loved cooking, as kids usually do, and they asked so many questions. They wanted to know more about nutrition. What are vitamins? What do they do? They wanted to know everything. And so I realized that there weren't many resources specifically designed to teach kids about plant-based nutrition in a fun way. And there were no engaging videos or books that would be tailored for kids, especially if you're on a plant-based diet or at least vegetarian. So I teamed up with my friend Datse. She's a graphic designer, and her daughters also attend the school. And we decided to create the resources ourselves. And so we made books and videos and printable activities to show kids how food works in their bodies and explain all of their questions they had. And so here we are.
I absolutely love that, because I mean, I know where we're coming from as integrative dietitians, and really being, we have our own outpatient private practice and we're seeing patients. We're seeing the kids that already have hyperlipidemia. We have some kids who have diabetes. A lot of our kids have gut issues. I know we shared recently on our socials, we ran into a mom of one of our patients who her son had severe gastritis. So it's essentially inflammation of the stomach, and pretty much anything he was eating, he was just vomiting. He was vomiting at least 6 times a day and just really couldn't keep anything down. And I mean, I'm sure, I mean, I'm a parent, you're a parent. As parents, when something's wrong with our child, it's like, oh my gosh, like, what do I do? What's going to happen? And, you go to a traditional doctor, especially here in the US, and it's like, yeah, here's a medication, here's an anti-spasm medication and a anti-nausea medication, but it's not asking the question of, okay, why is this happening, right? What's going on? What is he eating? What is he doing? And like, you're kind of sharing your kid's school sounds amazing. Like, that is like an amazing school where they're factoring in, oh yeah, the environment matters, right? Gardening and soil and food. And then I'm sure they get into other dynamics of community and socializing and just all these factors that we just so quickly overlook, and especially our healthcare system really overlooks. So it's so vital. And so we're seeing the kids that already have some issues going on, but we get that question all the time, which is like, how do we prevent this? What do I feed my kids? What should I be doing? And it's so important to have a resource like this, and especially for it to be free. It's great because we try to answer messages and give resources as much as possible, but you guys have really done a good job. Like, it definitely has our stamp of approval of, and I know you've also, and you can even talk about that some more. You've met with other dietitians to vet this and look this over and just kind of go like, hey, is this correct? Is everything we're putting together like evidence based and sound nutrition advice? And I think that's so amazing, so wonderful. But I don't know if you want to expand on that more.
Yes, yes. No, we're really committed to making sure our content is reliable and based on solid science. We use books written by plant-based dietitians and use research, and we also have a dietitian that checks everything if it's accurate, all information. And it's very important for us because, as we know, nutrition is the field in which misinformation is very also yes popular,
Yeah.
if you can say that. And it's very important because if you don't teach that to kids like early on and in school, uh, the misinformation later on have a direct impact on you. So it's very
Mhm.
important, yes, to keep this scientific background for us. Yes.
I love it. I love that we're live. We have a question since we're on the topic of like the school and what you mentioned. A question came in. Do you find that gardening and cooking are essential parts of nutrition education? What are your thoughts on that?
Absolutely. Absolutely, yes. And that's why we are also making cooking part of the education process in our books. Every of our book has at least one recipe kids can try to make, because of course you can learn in theory what is good, what is bad, but if you don't find the way you can eat that,
Mhm.
of course cooking is very important. We also have cookbooks that are educational, that kids can cook by themselves. Healthy recipes is very important. And we also, regarding gardening, as our school also is very focused on gardening, we also are considering providing resources for kids about gardening. Uh,
About gardening?
that's making, yes, about
Love it.
gardening, how to plant, how to grow, and how to eat, and
Mm.
what's good in that. So hopefully that
Eh,
goes.
and then to give the side of like, when parents are going like, man, how do I make sure my kids are healthy and their guts healthy? Like, it's so interesting how gardening and cooking are actually forms of medicine, right? When we're looking at the formal definition of medicine, or kind of like nutritional therapy, or medicinal therapy, and having a therapeutic effect, it's scientifically proven how therapeutic cooking and gardening is. And even taking kind of a microbiome aspect of it, I think so many of, especially our younger people, I know I have teenage nieces and nephews, but we're seeing this in the data where they're not really taking the time to chop and smell and taste as they're preparing. And it doesn't have to be this intricate, you're making everything from scratch, but even just putting something together, whether it's like a quinoa salad, or another type of like Buddha bowl recipe that you're putting together, you're smelling, you're tasting, you're preparing. That is preparing your digestive tract, right? That's preparing your gallbladder. It's preparing your enzymes. It's preparing your stomach acid, your salivary glands start to salivate, right? You start to release these enzymes and these juices in your gut, and you're preparing for healthy digestion. I think so quickly it's like, oh, you hungry? Yeah, we're hungry. Let's go to the drive-through and pick something up, and we're just eating it before we know it. And so, I mean, just the cooking itself is one way to ensure your kids' gut health is amazing and overall health is amazing. And then the gardening aspect, right? Allowing our kids to play in healthy soil is scientifically proven, right? It's shown in the literature that we are obtaining a majority of our microbial species from our environment, right? Our environment is literally shaping our gut microbiome, and the soil is a massive, both direct and indirect, I would say, contributor to that, just because the soil is what's shaping the food microbiome that we're eating. And then we can have direct access to the soil, which shapes our microbiome directly. And ideally, you are playing, like your kids in an organic garden where there's not pesticides and herbicides and rodenticides, and they're able to dig in the garden. I'm sure some kids young enough eat some of the soil, it goes into the mouth and and makes its way there. So that's so important. But I mean, we've been doing this for thousands and thousands of years. This is how our kids grew up, right? There wasn't, 1,000 years ago, a laminate clean floor that was just bleached, right? Our kids were on dirty floors, on clay floors, on soil, on hay, getting dirty and really, really being connected to that earth and that soil. So thank you so much for watching. We really hope you're learning something, and we really hope you know by now, Married to Health does everything with the patient, with our population in mind. So everything we develop, from our one-on-one care to our programs, and even we extended that when we developed Gut Nurture, it's all with you in mind. What our patients don't like to talk about are stinky farts. If your farts are smelling like egg, if they are smelling foul and clearing a room, you are likely having an overgrowth and a lot of issues going on. We developed Gut Nurture with you in mind. Amongst many other things, it is low sulfur, and it actually helps with hydrogen sulfide overgrowth, or really that overgrowth that's producing that hydrogen sulfide gas. If you're like, what the heck are you talking about? Click below, learn more, and get your hands on some Gut Nurture. I mean, yeah, this is a long-winded way, but yes, I mean, to that question, and just taking that factor of the health and the microbiome factor is massive. And then the end product of all this is healthy food, right? And you're getting this beautiful, healthy food by gardening and by cooking, in which you feed your family. Is that something would you guys say you have that ideal family? Is that something you'd say you do more often than not? Is like you're growing the food and preparing the food on a daily basis?
Yes. Yes,
Awesome.
we have a garden, small garden, but
Love
still
it.
trying to do our best. And actually, I have three girls, and they um, each have their own little garden where they choose what to plant, how to grow, and then they eat what they want.
Oh,
So
that's great.
I think yes, and what you mentioned, yes, that's very important. And I think these two, gardening and cooking, essential life skills,
Mm.
and we are lacking these skills. And each year, less and less. I think they do not teach that in school, and it's really very important.
Wow. Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think more schools now have gardens, but the amount of time and exactly what's being taught, I think, is variable and questionable. But yeah, I mean, we've said for many years, I mean, teaching your child how to cook is just as essential as reading and writing and math, right? I think we can even extend that to gardening, like teaching a child and really knowing how to grow food. I think we see it as like a hobby, but really, I mean, if we didn't know that, if we weren't as good as we are today at growing food, we wouldn't have food, right? I think today we have the luxury of many people seeing gardening and growing food as a hobby, but it wasn't that long ago. It was an essential activity, right? For us to
Yeah.
live. So it's crazy how just over, several decades it can shift so rapidly. But wow, it's pretty amazing. I mean, I would say it is vital, it's essential. And not only that, I think it's a missing key to when we're seeing in kids' gut health, we are seeing more kids with, like I mentioned, gastritis. We're seeing more kids with constipation, picky eating, eczema. You hear the term colicky babies, and really a lot of it has to do with food intolerances that the mother's experiencing with histamine issues, the mother's experiencing. It can go pretty deep and down into the weeds, but overall, why Nutri-Edu-Kids is so important is really the research is very clear on the first 1,000 days. And so the first 1,000 days of life, and if you've been following us, for whoever's listening and watching, we've talked about this a lot, but the first 1,000 days is really key to the growth and support and maintenance of the gut microbiome. And so what is mom doing the first 1,000 days? What is the baby doing and eating, which obviously mom and dad and caregivers have control over. And so Nutri-Edu-Kids is here as a resource of going, hey, caregivers, hey, mom, dad, hey, who's taking care of this baby and this child? Here's a really good foundation of understanding when the child's old enough, but even for the parents and caregivers, and then kind of, going into a plant-based diet where we feel very clear, and the literature, at least for right now, and we feel very confident in it, that it's very clear, like, plants are the way to go. How do you guys feel about that? When did that light bulb really go off for you, and what was it that kind of was like, oh my gosh, plants? And that's so important. Has it always been that case, or was it something that happened?
No. It was for me. It was. I also faced some gut health issues, but small ones, nothing major. But I was also always constipated and didn't feel well. And then I started reading, and only then, at 30 somewhat years, I learned that nutrition actually has some importance in that,
Mm,
and that was like a reveal for me. And
mm,
that's I think that's the most important thing, that nutrition education doesn't really get much attention in the curriculum in schools until kids are around, I don't know, 15 years old, and even then it's very limited, at least here in Europe. And it was also for me, I was not learning anything about nutrition in school. I didn't know
mm,
anything, and only when I was adult I started to learning. And yes, as I was learning about plant-based nutrition, it was obvious that the amount of vitamins and minerals and phytonutrients and everything they do in our bodies is exceptional. Um,
mm.
yes, so
Love
plant-based
that.
has been 8 years for us, and way to go.
You said 8 years you've been?
Yes.
Wow, that's great. That's wonderful. I mean, it is. It's so important. And then I mean, you feel like your kids, did you do like a plan, or how old are your kids again, Christine?
Oh, my oldest will turn 15 this year, and middle one will be 12, and the youngest one is 9.
Oh,
So
I
pretty
love it.
big.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I asked that because, so you've been like 8 years on this journey. So it's nice to see like you do have like an older one where she was old enough to be like maybe noticing some of the changes. And then you kind of have this gradual where as you had more kids, it's like, nope, this is just life, like there's no change to make, right? So it's always interesting, that dynamic. And we have patients like that where they have an older child who's like 18, and then like a 14, and maybe even a younger who's like 6. And it's interesting how they had to kind of shift, like, oh, I wish we would have done this sooner for our older
Yes.
child, and I wish so that dynamic where the older child remembers the hot pockets. Or I mean, I know for us, like, we had the junk foods, right? Like or the Dahlia doesn't like the term junk foods, but I mean, that's kind of how we called it when we were younger. I mean, it was just like the hot pockets and the pizza bites and lots of cheese and dairy. I consumed a lot, lots of sugary cereals. I was always eating Capri Suns and drinking, Sunny Delight and all these really hyper processed foods. And so how is it? I mean, do you kind of see that dynamic in your kids, or would you say it's
Yes.
pretty smooth? Or yeah, what do you?
No, it was very hard, really, as you told, for older kids to to agree on this new path. But the younger one, the most healthiest one, yes. And what you said, I wish I would we would start this plant-based journeys earlier. Definitely, yes. That was the same for us.
But you know it's cool, and for anyone out there, I mean, again, I know how difficult it can be because Layla, our daughter, has grown up because we've been 13 years plant-based. So
Oh,
Dahlia had a completely plant-based pregnancy. Layla's grown up. I
wow.
mean, Layla's never even eaten beef, chicken. I mean, there's things she's never touched, even by accident. So it's pretty unique. I mean, I'm like, wow, how does that feel? You know, and she's the healthiest one of us all. She has energy and she does taekwondo. She just got like her green black belt in taekwondo. Like she's amazing. And it's like you have this little case study, right? Putting on my like
Yeah.
scientific hat. It's like, wow, like for you, you have three case studies, right? You go, the older kid started this way, the middle, and the youngest is the healthiest. And it's like, oh, wow, what did I do differently? And you get to actually like see it kind of play out, which is so cool. So for all of us with kids, you're kind of like modifying their diet and tweaking things, and you kind of see it in real time, in real life, kind of play out, whether it's their dental health, their bone health, their energy, their focus. And obviously every kid is genetically unique, but that lifestyle factor plays such a massive role. Like what I mean, you have three, and wow, we just have one. I can't imagine three. Three is amazing. What would you say is like what's the biggest way you stay kind of on track or kind of keep everyone just really excited about the food or understanding, I guess, and educating your own family? Like what are some of your top tips for that and just helping with your kids and family?
Yes. So the biggest struggle was to find foods they like,
Mm,
kids who are not used to them, how to incorporate them. So I my biggest advice is to experiment with food, include kids in the process of experimenting in cooking, so they if they participate in cooking, they will most likely eat the food they prepared, not the food that you secretly hidden some healthy stuff inside there. So that was for us, but we are not there yet. For some kids, it's still hard to be 100% plant based. So
oh
I
yeah,
think the gradual approach is also for some families better than one night over.
totally agree.
um, yeah. So I think gradual approach, educating and experimenting together in kitchen and cooking. That's that's the most impactful for us was at least.
Hmm. I love that, and I think, and that's where I mean we would totally agree. Where in no way, shape, or form is it about removing or decreasing foods. Like for us, our approach has been add foods, right? Because there's so many foods to add. There's so many kids out there from any age range, whether they're 1 or they're 18, who are not just adding or they're not aware of all the plant foods out there. We were just getting, because here is stone fruit season, we're getting like peaches and nectarines and pluots, and it's summertime, so Layla's friends are coming over and she's out of school, and so many of her friends are like, what is that? And it's a pluot.
I
And
don't
it's
know
like
what is that.
a pluot, yeah. So it's a hybrid fruit. It's a plum and an apricot, and they made a
Oh,
pluot. So in Southern California, we have lots of pluots, and they're delicious. They almost look like little. They could be purple. They could be kind of more yellow, and they'll have kind of spots. They kind of look like a plum. Yeah, they kind of look like a plum apricot, and they're delicious. They're so good. But so many aren't aware. Oh my gosh, there's pluots, or I mean, we have like 5 different cherry varieties, and they're like, why does this cherry look like orange and pink, and they're just looking at all these fruits, and it's like, wow. And especially here, we're in Southern California. You just go to the farmers market. We go every Sunday, and it's like a couple blocks away, and you have this massive variety. So all that to say is like we're not saying, yeah, ditch the dairy right now, ditch the meat, ditch that, like, no, we're saying add, like add as many plants as you can. Teach your kids about the plants. Visually have them see it, whether it's on a workbook or on a video, or you're going to the farmer's market and taking a look, and kind of like you're saying, introducing them and creating that variety. And then even better, get them hands-on with it, have them taste and smell it, even if they just look at it. So, really the standard of practice when it comes to pediatric nutrition is a child looking at a food is them trying the food, right? And in our recommendations when it comes to pediatric nutrition, it's like, if a child looks at a food, they've tried the food, and ideally they're going to try the food 30 times. That could be another look. Maybe it goes up to 10 times they're just looking at it, and then the 11th time they actually touch it. Great. Maybe by the 20th time they're going to finally put a piece in their mouth and taste it, right? So it's this idea, and we echo this over and over again, to not give up. Like, I think we're so quick to give up. And going back to our previous analogy of like how we both were saying how vital cooking is, it would be like your child learning math, and the first problem they solve and it's too hard, okay, don't try that problem again. It's like, no, but we hear parents say that quite often, where they tried the cherry tomato, and they're like, oh, they don't like cherry tomatoes. It's like, they only tried it one time, right? So how do you know if
I agree.
they don't like it, right? I mean, do you see that in like friend groups or family members who are kind of a different mindset, or would you say you found a big tribe where you're kind of all of the same mindset?
No, I see my oldest daughter changed school recently. She went to the public school because our school is only until age of 12. So, and it was quite a change. Yes. So
Yeah.
they have no garden, no cooking, no education. So yes, it was a challenge. So it's definitely, it is a challenge. Lack of education and nutrition education, and at the same time, they are not educated in nutrition, but at the same time, they're bombarded with an overwhelming number of unhealthy food commercials. It's like everywhere, right? And
Everywhere.
yeah, unhealthy food is cheap and easily accessible, but organic and local, you have to grow, you have to go to farmers markets. It's complicated.
Yeah.
But unhealthy food is easy, cheap, and available. So
Yeah.
it's really a challenge. And what we are trying to make available information, at least for kids and parents, and to inspire them to try healthy food, to understand why it's important.
Mm-hmm.
So
I love that. What did you notice? Yeah, going to a public school, like what was something that happened?
the food there is very cheap, basic, no colors, no plants, almost like basic meat and potato
Wow.
kind of meals. Yes, and yes, that's enough.
Wow. So like bland, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
and that's why welcome Layla. I told Layla she could join. This is my daughter Layla, because I thought it was very pertinent.
Hi.
So this is how you guys know it's live. She just popping in live. I love it. And we're talking, yeah. So Layla, what do you notice? So Layla goes to a private school, but she was at a public charter school. What did you notice about what kids were eating, and how was it different from what you were eating, or what would you
At the public school or at the private school?
both? You could do both.
Okay, so at the private school, it was like almost like it was pizza, and like if you didn't bring your lunch, it was Lunchables.
They would give you at the private school Lunchables?
Yeah.
They had backup.
Yeah,
Wow.
your parents just had to pay them. It was just crackers, salami, cheese. That's all.
Wow. Yeah.
And then the pizza was gluten crust. Well,
Okay.
gluten crust is sometimes okay, but it was just not the best gluten. And then it was like really processed cheese, and it was all oily, and there was just like the hugest grossest looking pieces of salami just slapped on top of it. And then at the public school, it was like bean and cheese burritos.
Okay.
And then, or it was, I can't really remember, or it was, these miniature pizzas. It looked horrible.
What about, but they would give fruit and vegetables.
Yeah, they'd give like pears, and no one took the vegetables.
Oh, really?
They just except for, and there was just milk,
and milk to drink.
Yeah, and some of the kids were drinking. There was huge like things of something. It was like soggy things inside of the milk when they opened it.
Thank you so much for watching this video. We know you're probably getting quite a bit from it. It can be a lot of information, it can be overwhelming, and we totally get that. Dahlia was there not too long ago suffering with IBS and SIBO-like symptoms. She was hunched over very often, bloating, gas, constipation, diarrhea, skin issues, hormonal issues, the list goes on and on. So we know this. We've been in practice now as registered dietitians for over a decade, and we created our Good Gut SIBO IBS program for you. If you're experiencing IBS, SIBO symptoms, IMO, SIFO, the list goes on and on. If you're like, I'm not really sure what this is, click down below. We have a free assessment for you, and that'll likely lead you to our Good Gut SIBO IBS program, which is chock full of information we wish we had. It's information that we're giving to our patients, so it's all at your fingertips in one package. It's 7+ hours of video. It is dozens and dozens of handouts. It's tailored meal plans and recipes to truly help you get to the root, to truly help you understand what's going on so you can truly heal with each meal. Check it out down below.
It was just quiz.
Does your daughter pack a lunch, or is she at the age where she just doesn't want to bring her own food?
No.
Is that
no, it's not popular very much. So she tries to eat potatoes and carrots at school and healthy meals at home. So kind of mixing it. Yes.
No, it's real. I mean, this is
challenge.
real. It's a challenge. It's what many of us face, and we have that. Luckily, I mean, we'll see what Layla has in store when she gets older, and we know. I remember that, just trying to fit in and be cool, and be with that group mindset. If no one's eating lunch, you're not going to open up your lunchbox and go, "Hey guys, I brought my quinoa and my lentils." And it's just not something you do. Or I mean, some kids do, and that's great. I know Layla brings her lunch, and she's really proud of it. And she's had some of her friends tell her, or you can share. What were some comments you get about your lunch?
You eat so healthy, and sometimes the mean people say like, "Ew, your lunch looks disgusting."
Okay. What else? So you got some mean and some positive.
Yeah, and then there's this one girl named Zara. She's my friend, and she's been coming over a lot, and she loves my lunches. And when she comes over, she tries eating the healthy food.
Wow.
But sometimes she doesn't like it.
Yeah, and that's real. So I mean, it's you get both sides. Like even with people watch our videos, you'll get healthy comments and great thumbs up, and others who are like, plants are terrible for you. So everyone has a comment, right? So it's always a challenge, but I think it's being consistent, right? That's a message we're always kind of educating on is that consistency. It almost goes back to when they're toddlers and babies trying foods. It's just being consistent. It's in the home. You're educating. You as a parent are really representing and helping them by seeing you do it, right? First and foremost, what we're eating, what we're purchasing, what's in the home, and we just continue on. There's times Layla's tried some of her friends' snacks, and we're like, oh, you probably shouldn't eat too much of that, but a little bit is not gonna kill you. But she knows, and we educate her why and how and the what, and then kind of just moving forward with that. So it's so important. That's why it really, I think what you all are doing with Nutri-Edu-Kids is kind of putting it in an easier and digestible and beautiful package where it's colorful, it's appealing to the eye, kids like it. I think parents really like it. We did have another question. This is a perfect way to answer this question, I think. Which is, do you know if schools use the resources you provide, or is it geared more towards individual households? So is that could for example, like teachers in schools pick these resources up, or is it more just geared for like parents and families?
No, it's really pretty much very useful for schools, because we also tested in our school these resources for our kids, and we created them the way that you can use them in camps, in homeschooling, in at home, and teachers can show these videos, and they can get printable materials and print out printable activities, coloring pages, and hand out to as many kids as they have in class. And the videos and printable activities work very well in class. Easy to use, and we have also a cookbook that comes with printable activities, that if you have option in school to cook with kids, it's like an educational cookbook, and you can print it out and hand out to kids in schools very easily.
That's great. So I mean, so yeah, to reiterate that, so yes, so if you're like, oh my gosh, my homeschool co-op, my Montessori school, because I know we have that here in the US as well. Like we have the Montessori where it's a little more unique and they have gardens, and we have the co-op where one day you can go to the farm and the next day you go on a hike and you're learning about nature and you're kind of doing your own curriculum, or homeschooling. There's charter schools, there's private schools. So that's amazing. Nutri-Edu-Kids resources can work for your teacher and your overall school. It can work for you as a parent and your family. Layla's looked at the workbooks and the coloring books and the resource. What do you think of the Nutri-Edu-Kids?
They're really fun. Sometimes if I wake up super early and I like look in my parents' room and my parents are still asleep, I just go downstairs, get my markers, and just color on the books, and I just look at the things inside.
Love it. That's a very honest review. I love it. We did not put her up to that review. We did not know that while we're sleeping, she's getting the Nutri-Edu-Kids books and coloring them. That's awesome. Well, I love it. Yeah. I mean, and Kristen, so remind people where they can find the videos, or the course, I should say, and the resources.
Yes, you can go to our webpage, Nutri-Edu-Kids.com, and find all our resources there, starting from videos to books and printable activities for kids.
Awesome. Very cool. Well,
can I
it's
show
been great. Yeah.
Can I show everybody my favorite one? I like this one.
That one. The nutrition activity book. I think this one, you can't really see it on top, but learn all about vitamins. But some of these you can purchase as well. Is that correct?
Yes, they are available on Amazon, and links are also.
And then this is a page I colored this morning.
You colored it this morning? Nice. Oh, cool. Way to go, Layla. Look at you. Yeah, so she actually uses these, she likes these to color them. So that's very cool. And Layla, what about, I'm going to put you on the spot a little bit before we leave. I mean, what's something you feel has helped you to stay so healthy and eat healthy, and any parts of wisdom you'd give to kids out there, parents listening?
Oh, what do you mean?
Anything. Like, why do you eat healthy? What keeps you wanting to eat healthy, or helps you to eat healthy?
It makes me feel good, and it gives me a lot of like energy. Okay. And when my parents eat it, they make it in like really delicious ways. And like you don't with plants, you don't have to like get a whole thing of lettuce and just bite out of it. You can like make maybe like a healthy pasta or a healthy heart of palm, like little salad, because I really love like salads and stuff like that, or we can make like bowls and stuff like that.
So you're feeling, so I think what Layla's saying, yeah, you're feeling the outcome of eating healthy, like you feel good, and then your parents know how to cook. So parents learn how to cook, and your kids will feel good. And that's really helpful. So I feel like this is almost a journey you are doing with your child. This is a journey you're doing with your family, where you're walking the walk and talking the talk, and your kids are gonna see that. They're gonna feel it, they're gonna see it, they're gonna taste it. And I think that is a really good tidbit. Kristen, any parting words of wisdom? Like, I know you mentioned some really good tips earlier of just, keep keep introducing, keep trying, diversifying. Anything else you'd recommend with 3 kids who, I mean, you're really in this day to day. Anything else you share as a tip?
So I really hope that parents will try our resources, because they are a really easy way to introduce kids to healthy eating, and seeing the impact these resources have on children's understanding of nutrition, and their willingness to learn more about healthy eating has been also rewarding for us. And even if we as a society can't easily change the entire school system, and we as parents can educate our own children and make a difference. So I think we can try to do this step by step, by small steps every day, teaching, cooking, gardening together.
I love that. I wanna add to that. I mean, just to echo on that, it is because I think we can get so caught up in like, oh my gosh, the school system, and especially in the US, the food or the school lunch program, right? And oh my gosh, it's such a mess, and it's so horrible, and we get so caught up in these big institutions, but we really overlook, okay, what can we do every day in our home, right? What's our meals looking like in our home with our kids? You know, oh, my daughter who's 26 is going to be pregnant. How's her nutrition? And how can I just be a role model for, whether it's your older kids or younger kids? I think that is so important, so powerful. And I mean, just a very clear message I think we can all get behind. So thank you so much. This has been great. I love it. We love it as Married to Health. We're all about educating families, educating kids, helping families and kids just really grow in plant-based nutrition. And really the secret, one of the big ways to help with your child's gut health is introducing them to plants, really. I mean, that is really the name of the game. If they like tomatoes, give them tomatoes and find 5 other varieties at the market, at the farmer's market, right? If they're enjoying broccoli, introduce them to all the cruciferous family. And it's really, really cool to see Nutri-Edu-Kids resources introducing them to these family members, these cousins, all these different varieties of fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds and beans and peas and lentils. And the list goes on with all the different types. So it's very, very important. And it's as simple as that. It's a great starting point. And I want to thank you again for coming on and joining us, and all the hard work that you guys are doing and everything you're putting out. I'm excited. Now that you said it, I'm going to be really excited to see the gardening, kids gardening. No pressure. I know it can be a lot of work. We have other exciting resources coming. We're partnering with Nutri-Edu-Kids to bring you a really exciting resource as well. So stay tuned. Click below to visit Nutri-Edu-Kids. Click below if you're not already signed up to our newsletter, and click below to subscribe and like and share this with a family member who's like, where do I start? What do I do? It's as simple as just introducing a new plant food and really supporting your kids with plant food. So thank you again. This has been great.
Thank you.
Thank you all for listening and joining. You can catch Good Gut Live every month here at Married to Health, and we'll see you all next time. Remember to heal with each meal. Thank you, everybody.